Exodus 39. And of the blue and purple and scarlet they made cloths of service to do service in the holy place, and made the holy garments for Aaron as the Lord commanded Moses, the ephod. And he made the ephod of gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen. And they did beat the gold into thin plates, and cut it into wires, to work it in the blue, and in the purple, and in the scarlet, and in the fine linen, with cunning work. They made shoulder pieces for it, to couple it together. By the two edges was it coupled together, and the curious girdle of his ephod that was upon it was of the same, according to the work thereof, of gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen, as the Lord commanded Moses. And they wrought onyx stone enclosed in ounces of gold, graven as signets are graven with the names of the children of Israel. And he put them on the shoulders of the ephod, that they should be stones for a memorial to the children of Israel, as the Lord commanded to Moses. And he made the breastplate of cunning work, like the work of the ephod, of gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen. It was 4 square. They made the breastplate double, and a span was the length thereof, and a span the breadth thereof, being doubled. And they set it in 4 rows of stone. The first row was sardis, a topaz, and a carbuncle. This was the first row, and the second row an emerald, a sapphire, and a diamond, and the third row a liguire, an agate, and an amethyst, and the fourth row a beryl, an onyx, and a jasper. And they were enclosed in ouches of gold and in their enclosings. And the stones were according to the names of the children of Israel, 12 according to their names, like the engravings of the signet, every one with his name, according to the 12 tribes. And they made upon the breastplate chains at the ends of reeking work of pure gold. And they made 2 ouches of gold and 2 gold rings, and put the 2 rings on the 2 ends of the breastplate. And they put the 2 wreathen chains of gold and the 2 rings on the ends of the breastplate, and the 2 ends of the 2 wreathen chains they fastened to the 2 ouches, and they put them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod before it. And they made the 2 rings of gold, and they put them on the 2 ends of the breastplate upon the border of it, which was on the side of the ephod inward. And they made 2 other golden rings, and put them on the 2 sides of the ephod underneath it, towards the forepart of it, and against the other couplings thereof, above the curious girdle of the ephod. And they did bind the breastplate by his rings unto the rings of the ephod with a lace of blue, that it might be above the curious girdle of the ephod. And the breastplate might be loosened from the ephod, as the Lord commanded Moses. And he made the robe of the ephod woven work all of blue, and there was a hole in the midst of the robe, as the hole of the habergeon, with a band round about the hole, that it should not rend. And they made upon the hems of the robe pomegranates of blue and purple and scarlet and twined linen. And they made bells of pure gold, and put the bells above the pomegranates upon the hem of the robe, round about between the pomegranates. And a bell on the pomegranate, a bell and a pomegranate round the hem of the robe, to minister in, as the Lord commanded Moses. And they made coats of fine linen, woven work for Aaron and for his sons, and mitrite of fine linen, and goodly bonnets of fine linen, and linen breeches of fine twined linen, and the girdle of fine twined linen, and purple and blue and purple and scarlet of needlework, as the Lord do the engravings of the signet, holiness to the Lord. And they tied onto it a lace of blue to fasten it, commanded Moses. The tabernacle is erected. Thus all the work of the tabernacle tent of the congregation finished, and the children of Israel did according to all that the Lord commanded Moses, so they did. And they brought the tabernacle unto Moses, The tent and all his furniture, his taches, his boards, his bars, his pillars, and his sockets, and the covering of the ram's skin dyed red, and the covering of the badger skin, and the veil of the covering, and the shewbread, the pure candlestick, with the lamps thereof, even with the lamps to be set in order, and all the vessels thereof, and the oil for the light, and the golden altar, and the anointing oil, and the sweet incense, and the hanging for the tabernacle door, and the brazen altar, and his grate of brass, his staves, and all his vessels, the laver and his foot, the hangings of the court, his pillars, his sockets, and the hanging for the court's gate, his cords, and his pins, and his vessels, for the service of the tabernacle, for the tent of the congregation, the cloth service to do service in the holy place, and the holy garments for Aaron the priest, and his sons' garments to minister in the priest's look upon all the work, and behold, they had done it as the Lord had commanded. Even so had they done it, and Moses blessed them. Exodus 39 shifts the focus of manufacturing from the architecture courtyard boundaries to the high-stakes textile tailoring. The artisans step into the wardrobe department to weave and assemble the hyper-specific royal vestments for Aaron the high priestess and his sons, exactly matching the design file given to Moses on the summit in chapter 28. As you read the text live, look out for the highly repetitive phrase that echoes like a metronome throughout the chapter. As the Lord commanded Moses, it appears 7 times in a distinct section alone, serving as a legal declaration that Israel has completely discarded the rogue creativity of the golden calf and is now executing their worship with absolute disciplined obedience. The master weavers tackle the most complex garments first. The ephod, to weave actual metallic gold directly into the fabric matrix, they execute an ingenious industrial technique. And they did beat the gold into thin plates and cut it into wires to work in the blue, in the purple, and in the scarlet, and in the fine linen with cunning work. They attached 2 shoulder straps to mount the 2 premium onyx stones enclosed into the golden filigree settings onto the shoulders, each stone engraved with the 6 names of the tribe of Israel to act as the stones of memorial. Next, they craft the square breastplate of judgment. They fold the golden woven fabric double to form a secure pouch to set 12 distinct gemstones into 4 rows of solid gold settings. Every single jewel is engraved with the names of one of the 12 tribes. They forge solid gold rings and complex blue cord lacing systems to anchor the breastplate flat against the ephod so it cannot shift or become detached during an active sanctuary operation. They weave the seamless solid gold robes of ephod completely out of deep violet blue wool around the entire lower hem of the skirt. They alter the hanging hand-woven wool pomegranates and would be clearly broadcast to the congregation outside when he stepped past the threshold into the dark interior of the tent. They weave the baseline uniforms for the regular priest's sons, fine linen coats, turbans, breeches for moral decency, and colorful embroidered sashes. Finally, they forge the ultimate signature piece of the wardrobe, the holy crown. They hammer and polish the plate out of pure solid gold, engrave it deep with the boundary phases, holiness to the Lord, and tie it securely to the front of Aaron's linen turban using a vibrant blue lace ribbon. The chapter reaches a massive narrative milestone in verse 32. Thus, all the work of the tabernacle is finished. The construction crews gather every single piece of the modular fortress, the heavy leather tents, the golden wall panels, the silver sockets, the courtyard tools, the furniture, and the high priest wardrobe, and stack them up in a massive centralized staging area for the formal final project review by Moses. The language used during this inspection directly mimics the creation account. And Moses did look upon all the work, and behold, they had done it as the Lord had commanded, and Moses blessed them. Moses acts as the final ultimate inspector. He verifies every hook, every socket, and every golden thread against the mountain of blueprints. Finding absolute perfection, he officially signs off on the project and pronounces a national blessing over the working crews. The grueling process of beating gold into micro-thin plates and slicing it into thin wires to weave into fabric teaches us all about the refinement of our gifts. Gold is heavy and rigid by nature. It takes immense pressure, heat, and precision cutting to make it flexible enough to be woven into the garments of service. When you go through the high-pressure seasons of refinement, God is often shaping your raw assets into golden threads that can be woven into patterns of service for his people. The unbroken standard of obedience, the relentless repetition of as the Lord commanded Moses, highlights the definition of true worship. True devotion to God is not about offering him innovative, unrequested ideas like Aaron's calf. It is about executing his specific instructions with meticulous, steady faithfulness. The beauty of the tabernacle was not found in human improvisation, but in human alignment with the heavenly pattern. The blueprint of the completed project, Moses' grand inspection, serves as a historical rehearsal for the end of all things. Just as God inspected creation in Genesis and called it good, Moses inspected the tabernacle and blessed it. New Testament theology points to a day where our lives' labor will undergo an evaluation by the King. Building with the gold, silver, and precious stones of precise obedience ensures that your labor will stand the test of the fire.